Hello, my name is Joey Arcuri and I am an orchestra and strings teacher here in the Ithaca City School District. I teach at Caroline and Cayuga Heights Elementary Schools. This is a video on how to tune the double bass, and this video is specifically for the parents, caregivers, or any sort of family members that can help those young kids tune their at-home double bass. The bass is so big that sometimes students have a school bass and an at-home bass. And with family that are not musicians, sometimes it's a little confusing as to how to tune this thing. We do not teach kids how to tune their instruments right away because students are just learning about the whole spectrum of notes, and it's just a little complicated right from the start. But I'm hoping that this makes it clear for you. So there's 4 strings on the bass. And first of all, from my angle, I'm standing behind the double bass. It will help you with tuning if your playing position is proper. So I'm standing behind the bass and the bass is to my left, and the back rib of this bass is going into the side of my belly here on my left side. And I'm taking my right hand and I'm plucking the strings with my right hand. And while you pluck the strings, you're going to be turning these tuning pegs back here with your left hand. So I'm going to show you a few different scenarios that can happen with the pitch of the strings. Often these strings will be a little bit flat. Sometimes they can be a little bit sharp. If it hasn't been tuned in a long time, the strings can be really, really flat. So that is where they're super loose. If a note is flat, it means it's lower in pitch. If a note is sharp, it means it's higher in pitch. So we're going to tune the E string. And I recommend, as you can see, I have this app for Apple iPhones or for Androids. It's called Pano Tuner, P-A-N-O space tuner. It's a free app, and I'm gonna have it up on the screen the whole time. And yes, so here we go. For tuning the double bass, let's start with the low E string. It's quite, I recommend tuning by just plucking the string. The important thing is to pluck it consistently about every 1 to 2 seconds. So you'll hear me do it now. And as you can see, the Pano Tuner is registering. The bar is towards the left of that red line in the middle. Our goal is to get that bar towards the right, directly in the middle of the red line. So I'm letting the note ring for about 2 seconds, and you can see that although it's wobbly, that little bar is still registering. It's towards the left, so that means it's flat if it's towards the left of the red line. So I'm going to follow the lowest, thickest string all the way up, and you can see right in this little peg box what tuning peg it's wrapped around, and that's the one closest to my face on the lower side over here. So we're going to tune this counterclockwise. And that will slowly raise it to pitch. Next is the A string. As you can see, it's registering as the note A, and it's a little bit flat. So I'm going to follow it up, find the A tuning peg, and I'm going to go counterclockwise to make it more sharp. Slowly turn it. You'll get used to this the more you do it. The same thing with the other side. The D string, follow it up, it's right here. And I'm just going to pull it right up to pitch. And then the G string is the thinnest, the highest string. Pull that all the way up to pitch. Okay, so there we go. go. I recommend going around another time just to make sure that the strings are still tuned. From the adjustments of the other strings, their tuning pegs turning, sometimes the other strings can go out of tune from that, but just slightly. Another thing that can happen is you can be sharp. Often these strings will go sharp from the bass sitting around or just overnight. So what'll happen, I recommend if it goes sharp, it's registering as, let's start with the E. It's registering as an E, but it's sharp, it's to the right of the red line. We're gonna pull it lower. I recommend going under, going flat, and then pulling it up to pitch. So here's the A string one. It's sharp, we'll pull it under, and we'll go up to pitch. Good. Do it with all of them. Good. So, I just gave you 2 examples of the strings that can be, they're flat, starting out, or they are sharp. So, this is another scenario where the strings are so out of tune that they are registering as a different note name than what the actual string is. It's very important to know the names of the strings. That's the pitch that you are tuning it to on the piano tuner. So it's from the thinnest string all the way on my other side, it's G, D, A, and E. An acronym that will help you to remember this is Good Dogs Always Eat. G, D, A, E, with E being the thickest, lowest string. So let's say we're so flat that it's registering as different notes that are not even related to what string, what the letter name you're trying to get it to. So what we need in this situation is the whole spectrum of notes. So I will, on this screen right now, put the whole spectrum of notes. There are 12 notes that exist in music notation. It's from A to A, A sharp, B, B flat, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, so and so forth. So it will help to reference this chart. To have this chart, I'll include it in this attachment of this email that I sent to you, just so you have the notes. So for instance, here's my E. It's so flat, it's registering as a D sharp or a D. So that is under pitch. That is before E in the alphabet, so that is lower than the pitch. So we gotta turn it way up till we get it to an E. So here is the next string, which should be A. This is registering as a G or G sharp. So you go from A to G in the musical alphabet. There's no H, so after G you go back to A. So G is under A. We're really gonna turn it up more till we get it to it reads as A. I'm still plucking the strings every 2 seconds, maybe 1 to 2 seconds. Here's the D string, which should be the D string, but it's saying C. C is before D in the alphabet and the musical alphabet. That means it's flat, it's lower in pitch. So I'm turning my peg counterclockwise to make it more sharp. Clockwise loosens the tuning pegs and makes them more flat. Cool. Lastly, I didn't include this initially because, especially for people that aren't musicians, it's not necessary to use the bow. The bow is beneficial for tuning because it sustains the sound. There is no decay with each plucking note there. So therefore we don't need to pluck it every 2 seconds. As you can tell, it wasn't as wobbly with the bar. So that's an option too, to tune with the bow, but it's not necessary. You can pluck every 2 seconds and still get it to register. So I hope that's helpful, although it might be a little bit confusing, frustrating, overwhelming at first. I guarantee you that once you get the flow of tuning double bass, it's gonna go pretty quick for you, and your kids are going to be really grateful for you doing it, and I will as well. They will be able to practice in tune, which is a really big deal. They have to play their songs in tune or they just won't sound good and they won't want to practice. So I hope this is helpful once again, and thanks for watching. Have a good night.